Hi kids, how are you? I'm meteorologist Joel Lookadoo here to give you the rise and shine weather forecast. It looks like we got a lot of sunshine and a lot of learning ahead. Did you know that there are patterns that can help us predict what the weather might be like at certain times of the day or different seasons of the year? You know, that's what meteorologists do. They are scientists who study weather and weather patterns, and then you might have seen them before giving weather forecasts that tell us what's coming and what it might be like later on that week, which is super helpful, especially when there's dangerous weather that might occur. And so meteorologists are important people that are studying these weather patterns. You know, there's different weather patterns in winter and spring and summer and fall. And so they study those and they know what's coming. And they do their best to let us know what it might be like. And it helps us prepare for the day or even the week ahead. Let's look at a particular week in June. So on Monday, you can see on this chart, there's different temperatures, right, for each day. Well, this one looks like a lot of sunshine. And on Monday, that high temperature, the warmest it's going to get that day, is going to be about 96 degrees. Now, that's a really high number when we're talking about weather and temperature. And you can see that Tuesday is 97. Wednesday is a little partly cloudy, and it's 95. But Thursday, whew, we're going to be sweating because it's 100 degrees, and Friday's 97. So what do you think are some things I might need for this week if that was our weather forecast? Well, that's a lot of sun, probably need some sunglasses, some sunscreen. It's a lot of heat and super warm, so I would try and find a pool and go swimming if I could, or maybe play some indoor games because it is so warm. So now let's compare some weather patterns in Arkansas from the months of July and December. What do you notice here? Well, in July, we can see that average temperature is 89 degrees, and the low, which means how cool it's getting that day, is around 69. However, in December, the high is only 49, and the low is 31. Well, those numbers are a lot cooler than it was in July. And how do those compare from what we looked at in June? Remember, June was that really warm week that we saw. Well, that's more similar to what we saw in July, those temperatures that are warmer, which makes sense because what do you know about the seasons that occur in June and July? It's becoming summer, right? You just got out of school, now we're playing outside and it's warm. Whereas in December, it's getting that winter time and it's getting cold. So those temperatures, those numbers are lower. So let's take a look at one more chart and see if we can figure out any patterns or predictions we might make about the weather. Now this chart is showing how many days it rained during different months. So what can we tell from this chart? Can you see which month had the most amount of rain? Well, whenever I'm looking at this, I see that, hey, May has 5 days where it rained. It had the most rain, right? There's the most of those pictures going across, and that tells me which one had the most. Well, in those other months, most of them have about 3 days, but we can see which ones had the fewest amount of rain. Well, those would be August and September. See how those months only have 2 days of rain? So it rained the least amount according to this chart in those months. And so meteorologists are studying these weather patterns and passing that information on to us so we can know how to dress or what is coming and if we need to prepare for severe weather that might happen. And so that's really important. So I encourage you to try and find a weather forecast that you might be able to see where you live and determine what is an activity that you might want to do based on the weather prediction for that week or even that day. And then think back afterwards, was your activity a good choice? Was it a good idea? And then you can thank a meteorologist for the work that they do.